Let me ask you something you've been avoiding. Why are you still trying? You've achieved so much. You've transformed so much. You've proven so much. And they still don't see, or they still don't see your value. They still don't treat you better. They still don't seem to care. So why are you still trying to show them? Here's the answer you don't hear. Because accepting the truth that nothing you do will ever make them see your worth feels more painful than the exhausting cycle of trying. As long as you're still trying, you can still hope. As long as you're still proving, you can still believe that maybe, just maybe, this achievement will finally make them see. But what if it won't? What if they never will? The third truth about the our show him or her trap is perhaps the most painful. You keep trying to prove your worth to someone who already showed you they don't value you, because accepting that truth, that nothing you do will make them see you, feels more painful than the exhausting cycle of trying. And there's a devastating realization underneath the our show him or her pattern. It's not just that they don't currently see your value, it's that they might never see your value. No matter what you achieve, no matter how much you transform, no matter how much you prove, and accepting that truth feels unbearable. Because if you accept that nothing you do will make them value you, then you have to face some painful questions. What was all that effort for? Why did you work so hard to prove something to someone who was never going to see it? Why did you make them the center of your transformation when they were never going to appreciate it? And most painful of all, if they don't value you, does that mean something's wrong with you? These questions are so painful that it feels easier to just kind of stay in that cycle, to keep trying, to keep proving, to keep hoping that maybe this achievement, this transformation, this level of success will finally make them see. Because staying in the cycle means you don't have to face the truth, that their inability to see your value isn't actually about you, it's about them. Think about CARDI's situation. She's achieved everything. She's at the top of her field, right? She's making incredible money. She's globally celebrated. She's objectively successful by every measure. And Offset still cheats, still disrespects her, still treats her like she's not valuable enough to be faithful to. At some point, she has to face a painful truth. It's not about her not being enough. It's not about him not having the capacity to value what he sees. But accepting the truth means accepting that nothing she does will change his behavior. That she can achieve everything and he'll still disrespect her. That his treatment of her isn't actually about her value, it's about his character. And it's just that realization is devastating, because it means all the effort she's put in to proving her worth to him was wasted, because he was never going to see it anyway. So instead of facing that truth, it's easier to just kind of stay in the cycle. Think about maybe if I maybe if I just achieve a little more, transform a little more, prove a little more, then he'll finally see my value and treat me better. But he won't, because the problem was never that she wasn't proving her worth enough. The problem is that he lacks the character to honor what he has, and no amount of her proving will just kind of create that character in him. And the same pattern exists in your life with whoever you're trying to prove yourself to. Maybe it's an ex, and you keep thinking, if they just see how much I've grown, how much I've changed, how amazing I've become, they'll regret losing me and realize what they had. But again, they won't, because their inability to value you was never about you not being amazing enough. It was about them lacking the capacity to recognize and honor what was in front of them. And maybe it's a parent, and you keep thinking, if I just achieve enough, succeed enough, make them proud enough, they'll finally give me the approval I've always wanted. But they won't, because again, their withholding of approval was never about you not achieving enough. It was about their own wounds, their own limitations, their own inability to give what you needed. And maybe it's, or even a former boss or colleague, and you keep thinking, if I just build enough success, prove I didn't need them, show them they were wrong about me, they'll finally see my value. But they won't, again, because their inability to see your value in the first place wasn't about you lacking something. It was about their inability to recognize talent, potential, and worth when it's right in front of them. And this is the painful truth you're avoiding by staying in the I'll show him or her cycle. Some people will never see your value, no matter what you do. And that's not a reflection of your own worth. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their capacity. And I know sometimes that's difficult to accept or see, but accepting that truth means accepting that you've been wasting your energy, that you've been performing for someone who was never going to appreciate the performance, that you've been seeking validation from someone who was never going to give it. And that feels like failure. I get it. Like you've been fooling yourself, like you've been investing in something that was never going to pay off. So instead of accepting it, you keep trying, you keep proving, you keep hoping, because hope, even exhausting, painful hope, feels better than acceptance of the truth, or of a truth that hurts. And this is why the I'll show him or her trap is so hard to break. It's not just a pattern, it's protection. It's protection against a painful realization. You know, as long as you're still trying to prove your worth to them, you don't have to face the truth that they're never going to see it. And as long as you're still working to show them what they're missing, you don't have to accept that they're never going to care. As long as you're still performing for their validation, you don't have to grieve the fact that they're never going to give it. And the cycle protects you. You know, that cycle protects you from grief, from acceptance, from the painful truth that some people simply won't value you. Not because you're not valuable, but because they lack the capacity to see it. So if you think about CARDI, how long can she keep proving before she has to face the truth that Offset is never going to change? That no amount of success will make them or make him faithful. That his cheating isn't about her not being enough. It's about him lacking integrity. And just accepting that truth will be devastating. For some of us, anyway. It would mean accepting that all the times she took him back, all the times she defended him, all the times she believed he would change, were based on hope that was never going to be fulfilled. So instead, she stays in the pattern, achieves more, proves more, shows him what he's missing, because staying in the cycle feels less painful than accepting the truth. But here's what that avoidance costs. It keeps her trapped in performing for someone who will never appreciate the performance, trapped in seeking validation from someone who will never give it, trapped in a cycle that exhausts her while never actually fulfilling her. The same is true for you. Every day you spend trying to prove your worth to someone who's already shown you they don't see it is a day you're not living for yourself. You know, a day you're not experiencing genuine fulfillment. A day you're trapped in the validation instead of claiming your own. And the painful truth you're avoiding is actually the key to your freedom. And that's the thing. Some people will never see your value. And that's okay, because their inability to see it doesn't diminish it. And I'm going to say that again. Some people will never see your value. And that's okay, because their inability to see it doesn't diminish it. Your worth isn't determined by whether they recognize it. Your value isn't conditional on their approval. Your transformation doesn't need their validation to be real and meaningful. But you can't experience that freedom while you're still proving or trying to prove yourself to them. You can't claim your own worth while you're still seeking theirs. You can't live for yourself while you're still performing for them. This is the third truth. You keep trying to prove your worth to someone who already showed you they just don't value you, because accepting that they never will, it just feels more painful than the exhausting cycle of try it. But that avoidance keeps you trapped, performing for validation that will never come instead of living for fulfillment that's already available.